Hello, everyone, and welcome to Philosophical Hearts. Today, I want to talk about a piece of advice that we hear all the time in dating and relationships. Just be yourself. It sounds simple. In fact, it sounds so obvious that most people never question it. But I think there is a problem. The problem is that nobody ever explains what yourself actually means. Which version of yourself are we talking about? For example, imagine someone you're dating doesn't reply to a text message. A few hours pass and suddenly your mind starts racing. You convince yourself they're losing interest. You replay your last conversation over and over. And then you start sending long paragraph messages demanding explanations. In that moment, is that your authentic self? Or is that the part of you reacting from fear? Or maybe, even though you love your partner, you never allow them to help you with anything. When someone offers to help you, you immediately say no. You insist on doing everything alone. You build an identity around being independent. But is that really your authentic self? Or is that the version of you that learns that depending on other people is dangerous? Or perhaps you stay in relationships where your needs are never met. You accept less than you deserve because deep down you fear that asking for more will make people leave. Again, is that really who you are? Or is it a survival strategy that you've carried for so long that it has started to feel like your personality? These are the questions that interest me. Because I don't believe healthy relationships begin with finding the perfect partner or using the latest dating strategy. I believe healthy relationships begin with self knowledge. And this is not a new idea. More than 2000 years ago, a Greek philosopher named Socrates encouraged people to do something that sounds very similar: to question themselves, to examine their beliefs, to become aware of the assumptions shaping their lives. He became closely associated with a famous phrase that I use at the heart of my philosophy, which is know yourself. Now, when people hear the word philosophy, they often imagine something abstract or disconnected from everyday life. I used to think that too. Before my first philosophy lesson at 14 years old, I expected it to be something that belongs in old dusty books, not in reality. Instead, I walked out the classroom feeling as though I had discovered the most powerful form of magic in the world: human wisdom. Not because philosophy gave me the answers, but because it gave me better questions. Questions about love, questions about fear, questions about identity, questions about suffering, questions that help me understand not only the world around me, but also myself. And over the years, I've come to believe that many relationship struggles are actually struggles of self understanding. Because in relationships, or in general, we often confuse reality with the way we experience reality. Think about it. If you have experienced rejection in the past, you might begin seeing rejection everywhere. Someone doesn't reply straight away. To you, it means they're leaving. To someone else, it means they're busy. The circumstances are the same. What is different is the filters through which we interpret them. The problem is that once this starts happening, we are no longer relating only to the person in front of us. We're relating to our fears and we're relating to our past experiences. And we're relating to the stories we've developed about ourselves and about love. This is why self-knowledge is so important. Because when we don't understand ourselves, we can mistake fear for intuition. We can mistake insecurity for reality. And we will always doubt ourselves, doubt our intuitions, second guess ourselves. But the more aware we become of ourselves, the easier it becomes to recognize when we're responding to reality and when we're responding to a story. And often the stories sound like this: I'm not lovable, people always leave me, love isn't safe, I'll never be chosen. We don't consciously choose these beliefs. They are conclusions we arrive at after painful experiences. The problem is that once we believe them, they start influencing the way we behave in relationships. And that behavior often reinforces that belief. It's a cycle. Self-knowledge is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming aware. Awareness allows us to step back and ask, where is this reaction coming from? What am I believing right now? Is this fear based on what is happening in the present moment, or is it connected to something older? In many ways, this is exactly what Socrates encouraged people to do. He believed that many people confuse their assumptions with objective truth. So rather than accepting every thought automatically, he encouraged people to question themselves honestly. Relationships ask us to do the same thing. Not because we're broken, not because all our reactions are wrong, but because understanding ourselves gives us a choice on how to react. And choice is where transformation begins. So how do we start knowing ourselves better in practice? Well, there are so many tools we can use, but in this video, I'm only going to give you my 3 favorite ones. The first one is meditation and presence. When we're present, we are less likely to react automatically from fear. And we become more capable of seeing situations as they are, rather than through the lens of anxiety, projection, or past experiences. The second tool is journaling our beliefs. Whenever I notice a strong emotional reaction, I like to ask, what am I believing right now? Then I write it down. Once it's on paper, I can examine it. Is it actually true? Do I have evidence for it? Or is it a painful conclusion I've carried for years? The third tool we can use to understand the way we relate to others better is attachment styles. Attachment theory helps explain why different people respond differently to intimacy, conflict, reassurance, emotional closeness. I do find it useful, but I don't think it should be used as labels. I use them as a roadmap, not of descriptions of who we are or who other people are, descriptions of patterns we might have learned. Because what is learned can also be unlearned. Knowing yourself is not about reaching perfection. It's not about eliminating every insecurity or overcoming every fear. It's about gradually removing the layers of conditioning, self-protection, emotional survival that prevent you from experiencing love fully. The more deeply we understand ourselves, the more consciously you can love others. And to me, that's what know yourself really means. Not simply understanding who we are intellectually, but understanding ourselves deeply enough to stop relating from fear and start relating from truth. Because the quality of our relationships with others will always reflect the quality of our relationship with ourselves. If you'd like to start exploring some of these beliefs for yourself, I've created a free love reset journal that includes some of the reflections, exercises I use with my clients. You can download it using the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever realized that a reaction was coming from fear rather than from your authentic self? Let me know in the comments.